It has been a minute. Life's just been a little chaotic. Um, but I just wanted to hop on here and just kind of share what I've been reading. So it's gonna be kind of like what I'm reading, quick reviews, um, and yeah, let's get right into it. I will do my best to insert pictures here as I mention what I'm reading or I've DNF'd because I have DNF'd a few. Um, so we're gonna start off with what I DNF'd because I think off the top of my head I've only DNF'd. I have like I'm at my desk. I have all of my websites. I like blanked out for a second. I just woke up. That like I keep track of everything like my library account, Fantastic Fiction, Kindle Unlimited, and like whatever else. So let's see here. So it's gonna be like a little chatty. Oh, this website's not the best. Okay. So okay, I have two DNFs. One was I think I mentioned it maybe in my last video, The Starless Crown by James Rollins. Book 3 just came out. That's why it kind of like piqued my interest. Someone checked it out, and then I was just like, I was reading it as I was getting it ready for it to go somewhere at my job, and I was just like, oh, it sounds like pretty good. I'll keep my eye out for it. So I picked up book 1. I got the audiobook. The audio was good. I just like I either give it so my since there's so many things I want to read, my method of my madness, besides my mood reading of like, oh, I really want historical romance right now, or I want like paranormal, or some kind of dystopian high fantasy type of situation, I give myself a 100-page, um, kind of like rule. Like if I don't like it in 100 pages, then I'm just moving on. And maybe the book was good, but like if it's just not catching my interest in 100 pages, because I feel like that's a solid. I have a book in front of me right now. Let's see. This was a quick read, this one. So this is how thick the book was. It was only like 310 pages. So 100 pages was like, I mean, like that's significant. Again, it most definitely varies from book to book. But that's what I've been doing. So I just, and also like if I'm not like, oh my God, I gotta read another chapter, in the little pockets that I do read, if it's like at night before bed or early morning as I'm getting ready or something like that, then it's just like, okay, no, moving on. So Starless Crown had a very interesting concept, not a crazy, I mean, I didn't really get into the magic system, but it was very interesting that like the world had stopped shifting on its axis. So there was a side of the world blessed by the goddess of light or blessed by the sun, so they were always in sunlight, while the other side of the world was kissed by darkness or the whatever evil entity. There's like a religious aspect to it. So maybe it's good. And then I read some of the reviews and I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna move on. So then my next DNF, which I was kind of, maybe I'll try to pick it up again, but Runix is one of really like one of my favorite authors. Like I love her long, I think it ended already, her long like the Syndicate series. I really enjoyed that. I haven't finished it, but that's where I discovered her. And I read Gothicana. I really like that. I know there was like mixed feelings of like, is it actually good or not, but it was good to me. So she just came out with her newest dark academia, dark romance, mystery type thing, Enigma. And at the time, I already canceled it. I still have it active for a little bit, but I had Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, okay, like let me check it out. And it was terrible. So it was like I couldn't even. I was like on chapter. I got to chapter 5, and I was just like, yeah, no, I can't do it. So I'm not even gonna tell the premise too much. I'll just kind of tell like what bothered me. That maybe I'll pick it up again in the future, but like when I notice something in the writing and it's like a repetitive thing, if it's something the character says or the repetition of information or just anything like that, it just really, really puts me off and I just can't unsee it. So the main female character, she's quite young, like 18, which is fine. Like I have no qualms about that, even though like I have been reading things where the characters are older and there's a big difference, hence a lot more enjoyable as I am older myself now. But again, I'm not like, you know. So it was just, so the character is like the weird girl. She's very weird. She's very into death and like morbid curiosity, da da da. No problem with that. But she took, for some issue that happened, she took like a vow of silence, right? And she's going to this college where something happened and she's trying to get to the bottom of it. Not gonna spoil what I already know. But she encounters the main male character, which I didn't get any appeal from him of just like how she described how he walked and stuff like that. I was just kind of like, oh, like he strode with his arms swinging side to side. Like it just, in my mind, I just pictured those cheeky like little clips like on YouTube shorts of like men kind of just like walking, you know, over exaggerated. So I was just like, yeah, no. Then the other thing that just kind of just like, no, like every time she's around this male main character, she just has something to come out. She's like, and like, okay, I'm like, again, I really love everything else of Runex, but this one was just like not for me. And it had so like she again taking this vow of silence. She's around this guy who gets her all flustered and kind of like she's like whatever, and she's, you know, her mouth runs when she, and then in the book it says like, oh, I spoke before I even thought, you know, like I didn't process my thoughts before, you know, I spoke, and something like that around those, like, you know, paraphrasing immensely here, but yeah, that was repeated like 4 times within 5 chapters, and I was just kind of like, yeah, that's really annoying to me right now. And then the other thing was it's multiple POV, right? And it's her chapter, and I'm like, okay, well, like I'm. It's always been my favorite from his POV. Anytime there's dual POV, I don't know why. It's just like really interesting, and you know I want to hear their thoughts and everything like that. So I'm like again getting chapter 5, chapter 6. It's just been her, and I like because I had it on my Kindle. Like I pull down the like glossary, and each chapter is like labeled with their names, and I scroll and I scroll and I kid you not, maybe I miscounted, but there's like 3, 4 maximum chapters from his point of view in 40 chapters, and I was just like, what's the point? You know, at that point. Anyways, again, not for me right now, maybe not for me ever, and I think it's perfectly fine that even though you really like the author, just some books aren't for you and what they write. You don't have to love everything. I think that's safe to say. So I DNF'd that. So those are the 2 books I DNF'd. Um, and yeah, I did. Okay, so moving on to books I've finished reading. I someone I follow on Instagram, acquaintances, friends. You know, we everything she usually like recommends and says like I tend to like. So she just finished reading Whispers of the Deep by Emma Ham, and that was a fun read. That was really fun. It is a merman. Everyone on Earth now lives in the ocean because the Earth's surface has become too unstable with storms and everything. And this is book 1 in the Deep Waters series. There's like 4 books out. So I think there will be expanse on the world itself, but I really like the female main character. She's like, you know, she lives in kind of like the sector where it's like mechanics and welders and stuff like that. And these mermen or mer people, they're called Undine, and they are trying to take back their land, their ocean, because of, you know, they've wiped away. And it's just kind of, they meet, and it's like an intense, you know, there's a language there's a language barrier, but over time they learn how to speak to each other. I'm not gonna reveal that because that was a pretty neat process. So it's kind of like sci-fi, fantasy, actiony, very spicy. Really, really good. So I do intend to, at some point, if I ever get Kindle Unlimited again, to most definitely read the rest of the series because I really enjoyed that. So then after that, I have been wanting to read the Slightly series by Mary Ballow. I think I mentioned it a while ago in one of the videos of like, okay, I want to read this as my reading plan, and I never got to it. So I had book one, I checked out book two, and I'm pretty sure I have some of the other books, but they're like in storage, and I plan to get my books out at some point. But I read Slightly Married. It was so good. So good. I had started reading it a long time ago, but I was listening it in tandem while reading, and Rosalind Landor is one of my top favorite narrators. She does such a good job. So the Slightly series follows the Bedouin family. It's like four boys. Well, Aiden. Yeah, four boys and two girls. So I read Aiden's story, and that one was really sweet. And he kind of like he's fulfilling this honor promise to a dying soldier to take care of his sister, and his sister is like living in this manor in the countryside. And since her brother passed, before the time of the will, like the details and the rules, she's gonna lose everything to her cousin. And in this manner, she has a bunch of misfits, like kind of like a governess that got seduced by her previous owner and is carrying a bastard child, two orphan children that she claims them as her own, a wounded soldier, a simpleton, which they say it in there, and like, you know, someone who's just like a little bit slower. He's a stable man, stable boy, her aunt and stuff like this. So just a bunch of misfits that they're going to be thrown out to the streets. And as kind of like they do this marry of convenience, he's like, you know, he can't not, you know, keep his honor or his promise to the, which is her brother, the dying soldier. So it's just kind of like this journey of like, it starts up as marriage convenience, and then they're like, well, we might as well, you know, be husband and wife in the full extent. So Aiden and Eve's relationship is really beautiful. The only thing that like kind of like got me was like a little bit of like lack of communication, of like they were just falling and falling for each other, and it's just kind of like, come on, just stop. So then after that one comes yeah, Slightly Wicked. That was because I was like, okay, I'm kind of like losing the mood, the energy, the like want to continue. But then I was like, no, okay, now that book is like well overdue. I gotta like return it. Let me read it. So, oh, anyways, so like, oh my god, so fun. So this follows the brother. What's his name? Oh, Ranulph Bedouin and Judith Law. And so Judith Law is being sent to live with her aunt, you know, because her father's becoming destitute because her brother is just like a gambler, blah blah blah. So to kind of like relieve the family, she's sent to be with her aunt to like help with whatever, pretty much be a dignified servant, but even though she's like family. But the cart that she's in, traveling, the stagecoach, flips over, and he's on his way. Ranulph is on his way to kind of go see his grandmother, who he's going to inherit from her, even though he's the third in line. And so just kind of goes visit her, and supposedly she has someone else he wants to marry. So he's just like, okay, gotta go. But he sees her, and he takes Judith to go find help for these people. But she kind of like, you know, she always has this other dream, this other life that she wants, but she's like, she thinks she's too ugly, and like she, you know, kind of like just not the path that she wants to go down on. But she wants to take this moment, seize the moment, and create this dream a reality of becoming someone else, an actress, someone kind of like sensual and like, you know, all this stuff. So this was so fun, so fun. So it's kind of like they have an early rendezvous in the story, but she's says an alias, he does as well, and she just gives herself to him, just kind of like has this beautiful dream, and she's gonna keep it. But lo and behold, her cousin is trying to be betrothed, trying to marry him, and she's trying to like disguise herself, like hide, and she's just like, she's very voluptuous, she has beautiful red hair, and all her life she's been told she's ugly, but it's mainly like she's actually stunning, and no one wants to like be outshone by her. So it's this whole journey. She's super jealous, she doesn't deserve it and all this stuff, but he just kind of like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and it's just it was so good. I really enjoyed reading that. And I most definitely plan to read the rest of the series. And the eldest brother is the Duke Wolf, and I cannot wait. I think his book, if I'm not mistaken, yes, I think, because there's someone I follow on Instagram that they just like rave about this one, so I'm pretty sure that one's going to be amazing. Amazing, because he's the icy, stoic, speaks silently but like quietly but deadly. So good. I'm so excited for that. Okay, so up next, how am I gonna do this? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about let me start my process. I tried explaining this to my husband, and he was just like, what? Okay, so this caught my eye at work. It's called The Rake S. It's by Scarlett Peckham. I mean, how could this not catch your eye? And I had taken it to the desk ready to like check out or whatever, and I was just reading through. So the dedication is in memory of Mary Wollstonecraft, who's not the character in this book, but inspiration for it. And she has like this pretty lengthy author's note, which I know, shame on me. I usually skip it. I probably shouldn't. Um, but she's kind of like talking about how notoriously in historical romance, there's always the rake, the womanizer. He's still sowing his wild oats. No one can tame him. And then this, you know, magical woman comes and just completely tames his like loins and just calms him down, and he's just like completely devoted to her in the end, right? So she came across the book Romantic Outlaws by Charlotte Gordon, which depicts, it's a nonfiction, I know, who am I, depicts the life of Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley, and kind of like, I'm actually currently reading it, so bear with me, my thought process. And it's the lives of just kind of like, of, Mary during her time wrote this, you know, she was a big advocate for women's rights. She wrote a famous book, which I have, which I checked out, A Vindication of the Rights of Women. So kind of just her manifesto of just like the injustice women suffered at the time, of kind of like they couldn't breathe without their husband's permission, so to speak. They had no property to their own children. They couldn't get a job unless it was like a meager, like governess or something, like, they couldn't amount to anything, which, so she like read it, devoured it, which it's actually reading really well. Like, I'm actually really enjoying it for nonfiction, which I'm not against. I just like, I want to escape reality, but it's written really well. I highly recommend it. I'm listening and reading in tandem with the audiobook. So she's continuing on how like she inspired her, and kind of like that relationship and what they stood for. Mary, her mother, and Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, which I anticipate to read at some point this year or next year, I don't know. So kind of just how she was inspired of, even though like a woman who's soiled takes charge of her life, and it's just like, well, I'm already soiled, then I might as well, kind of like, what's the word, be what everyone says I am. So so this is what inspired her to write this. And so I'm kind of trying to read The Romantic Outlaws, and I really want to try to read this one. Might be a little bit harder to digest. Hopefully the audiobook that I found on Hoopla will be able to help me digest this. A Vindication of the Rights of Women. So I'm really intrigued because this, like, this is still talked about to this day. This is, was monumental at the time. And, and their story so far has been, like, really interesting of how, because Mary Shelley's mother, Mary W., died at childbirth 10 days after she gave birth to Mary. And so, like, Mary's whole life has been, like, Mary Shelley's whole life was this whole, like, adoration for her mother, trying to live up to, the ideal daughter that for her and stuff like that. And all, like, it toggles back and forth chapter to chapter, well, Mary's life and Mary's life. So that is kind of like a little project. So I'm reading Romantic Outlaws. I hope to be able to digest this. I think it's going to be like a heavier read for sure. I'm going to have to take my time and kind of like get the vibe. And then I'm going to hopefully be able to kind of like appreciate this even more, because it's so she is a Reikist on the quest for women rights, which, hello, inspiration, as she said in her dedication. Serafina Arden's passions include equality, amorous affairs, and wild wine-soaked nights. To raise funds for her cause, she is set to publish explosive memoirs exposing the powerful man who ruined her. Her ideals are her purpose, and her friends are her family, and her paramours are forbidden to linger in the morning. And then, for him, he's not looking for a summer lover. Adam Anderson is a wholesome, handsome, widowed Scottish architect with 2 young children, a business to protect, and an aversion to scandal. He can never, ever afford to fall for Serafina. But her indecent proposal, 1 month, no strings, no future, proves too tempting for a man who strains to keep his passions buried with the loss of his past. And then, like, one night changes everything, and kind of like, we'll see what happens. So I'm excited to read that. Okay, my apologies, like, I had to make space. So the next what I'm reading currently is through the series, what is it called? Is the Charlie Davison series by Dryinda Jones. I'm totally butchering that. So I got books 1 through 4. First grave on the right, second grave on the left, third grave ahead, and fourth grave beneath my feet. This was recommended to me by a coworker. She says it's funny, it's, steamy and kind of like actiony. It's like a suspense mystery type of thing. So we have our main female character, which is Charlie Davison, and she works as a PI. She also helps the Nevada PD solving crimes by in way of speaking to the spirits that come to her, because she can see the dead, and kind of, it was good. I really liked it. It's fun. I haven't laughed out loud. It's like a lot of cheekiness and a lot of, like, wittiness for sure. It's a quick read. She did solve a mystery, but it's not like gonna be throughout. I think every book is, standalone in the sense of the crime, but there is gonna be like an extended situation, which, you can't read these like out of order for sure. So she finds out kind of like finally what she is, and then there's this main male character, Reyes, who is actually Satan's son, and kind of like, I think we're gonna slowly learn about what is happening and their connection and all that stuff, and her finding out more of who she is and everything. So I am enjoying that. The other book I picked up, because I kept seeing it everywhere on Instagram, I know, Who Have I Become? I used to, like, I don't want to be trendy, but it just sounds good. I've kind of gotten into a little bit of like sci-fi fantasy, sci-fi romantasy. So this one I kept seeing everywhere. It is short, so This Is How You Lose the Time War. It is written, hold on. It is written by, oh my god, Amala L. Monther and Max Gladstone. It's, you know, two authors. And this follows two people on two rival agents of war. They're in different times and space, and so it's red and blue, and like they're corresponding to each other, kind of like they need this, you know, they're trying to save each other's realms or something like that. So it's written in the form of letters, which I really enjoy that. There's a couple books I've read in the past that have like this letter aspect to it, which I've enjoyed. So that should be a quick read. It's not even, oh shit, it's not even 200 pages. It's like 198. So that should be a quick read. It sounded really interesting. So yeah, so now I'm gonna speak about this project I have for the summer. Let's see if I even execute it, but I just think it'd be fun. I thought of the idea while I was at work because I have nothing better to do. But it is, I'm gonna have a classic Jane Austen summer because I have never fully read a Jane Austen novel, and don't shoot me, I have not seen Pride and Prejudice. I've seen clips and stuff like that, but I maybe saw the beginning part, but I have no recollection of like finishing it. So I made, where did I put that paper? So I'm like at my desk. It's a disaster. Where did I put that? Because I made a schedule, so to speak. Oh, there it is. I found it. Weird. Okay, so I made a comprehensive schedule for myself. So yeah, Jane Austen Summer is this project, and I wrote down all of her works. There's some I'm going to be skipping, kind of reading the main ones. And I'm going to be reading one book a week, hopefully, give or take. And if I can, watch the film adaptation or show adaptation to kind of like compare and kind of do like a little like video essay type of situation with it. Let's see how I do, because you know I run my mouth and I'm like not exactly, you know, I don't, I'm always all over the place. But so I'm starting off with, I have it here, the unfinished works. That's what I'm starting off with. Lady Susan, the Watsons, and Sanitation. So I'm starting off with that one, and then I have somewhere where I can read Leslie Castle, because those are her short unfinished works, and two of them have some kind of TV adaptation, so that'll be interesting. And then, so I'm gonna do it from June till July. Literally, I can do it in 2 months, the amount of books that I'm reading. So I hope to make it a lot more, you know, nicer than my usual videos. And I have like this trailer idea in mind. I know it might be kind of cheesy, but I think it'd be like a lot of fun. So yeah, and I have, I was actually looking at like my Kindle and just kind of like my resources, and I actually have quite a bit of her books, digital and physical. So a couple of these are TV adaptations, and I know that the British like long episodes, which I love, so that's gonna be kind of, I might not necessarily be able to incorporate that, I think, unless, I don't know, I maybe I can make it work. But most of them have like movie adaptations, which won't be too bad. So like Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice. Yes, I will watch the one with Keira Knightley. I know there's like a million other adaptations. Mansfield Park is a movie. Emma's a movie. Northanger Abbey is a show. Persuasion is a movie. And then week 4 at the end, I'll kind of just give my overall, like, how do I feel about Jane Austen as a writer? Because, like, I know that all her works are monumental to literature and just kind of like depicting all the woes of that time and all the silliness. So I know it's kind of like silly, funny, and just kind of, you know, talking about that. So yeah, and I also made, oh, where's that? Oh, that's in my little notebook. I made a list. Jeez, where did I put that? I think it's in my little notebook that I have at work where I write down books that I want to read. But I also want to read more classic literature and just kind of, you know, see things that have, you know, shaped literature and people's inspirations and like monumental things. I've always wanted to do that, so I anticipate to, you know, once a month after I do this, kind of like take a gander at some. I know there'll be an adjustment period to like my brain to adjust to that kind of writing and everything, but I'm excited. And then I already have, what's this one? Oh, here it is. Yes. Oh, nice. So yeah, I have my notes that I need to transfer to like a more stable copy. I just wrote a few. Like I've never read Frankenstein. I tried reading Dracula, but I gave up on that. Um, Rebecca, The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm pretty sure I have that. East of Eden. I know. I've heard it's like a lot of people's favorite books. It's been ages since I read The Outsiders and watched the movie to cry. So there's quite a few. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this little promptu video. I have been lacking motivation, but it's just like I just want to read, you know what I mean? But yeah, let me know what you've DNF'd, what you're reading, any big reading plans. I'm pretty set for a while. Oh, I'm also it's like at the end. Where would I find that? I also, as I was like scrolling, there's one I'm not sure I'm gonna finish. It's good. It's good. I do recommend it. It's A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, and it's written as a memoir, but it's fiction of the life of what's her name? Isabel Lady Trent and her journey to become a naturalist for dragons, and it's set during like Edwardian Victorian time, which is really I really like that. So I'm listening to it because I returned the book because I can like listen to it, it's fine. It's actually like a whole series. There's like 5 books where she's just kind of like depicting all of her like journey and stuff like that. I love dragons. I haven't read too many dragon books, but for example, like How to Train Your Dragon's like one of my favorite like kid movies. Is so good. I've watched all the movies, I've watched the show, and I cannot wait for the like live action adaptation, which looks like they're gonna do amazing. I'm a little iffed about Astrid's hair, but I think I can get past that. And the Grunkle, I didn't like how that looked either. Okay, anyways, so lastly, a book that I'm kind of reading now. It'll be a quick read. It's only like it's like 200 or something pages. It's like nothing. It's actually Harley Quinn, which I don't tend to read any Harley Quinns, at least none of the modern ones. This one came out in '96. I'll put a picture here because it's called Silent Night. Um, so Sir Guy, he's a monk and he has the face of like an archangel, like he's gorgeous apparently. So he's taking a vow of silence, but he has like the most devilish thoughts. They're like would make a devil blush according to the synopsis. And then so he's tasked to escort Lady Celeste del Montcalm, who she's French, um, and she's tempting. She has long raven hair, violet eyes, and she's like on her journey from France to like go be betrothed to this man. Um, so I think it's gonna be a really fun read. I don't know why I don't know. Sometimes like they label these things weird because it's historical, contemporary women, thriller, action, adventure, historical, new adult, romance, historical, literary, and historical. Okay. So yeah, I actually just started that this morning before I jump into book 2 of the Charlie Davidson series, because it's just kind of like, it just seems really fun. And it's by Tori Phillips. So yeah, and like the cover alone also just kind of like got me. It got me. Anywho, again, this is the end. This video is a lot longer than I anticipated, but it was fun to like talk about everything I'm reading, everything I'm going to read. So yeah, please let me know what you are reading, what you're making. If you're making anything, I am almost done with a sweater. That might be the next video. We'll see, no promises. But yeah, I hope you read something amazing, and I hope you make something beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.